Hey everybody, it's Grady at Twin Creek Audio back in the studio today with the Soundtracs Topaz. For one thing, I'm going to do another mixing demonstration. I'm going to include the Topaz, of course, because this is an easy console to connect some outboard gear to actually do a demonstration video. Today I'm going to also run a vocal track through the DBX163X compressor as requested by one of the viewers of this channel, so thank you for that suggestion. So we're going to do that, vocal track through the DBX163X. I'm going to add some outboard reverb today too in the form of the Yamaha Rev500 reverb. I'm going to put that on vocals and probably on the drums a little bit, but really I'm just going to use one reverb, so I'm sticking with all outboard effects today. And again, I'm going to use the LA Audio 4x4 compressor on the kick and snare like I've done in a couple of videos because I really like the thing. And I actually figured out if I push it a little bit harder, it gives me even more of the snare and kick sound that I was looking for. So that's going to be used today too. So before I label the console with some tape and get into the setup and the mix, I wanted to point out something about my channel. I do mostly analog, hardware type videos on this channel. That's because a lot of people have these things out there. They're available inexpensively, and everybody does DAW and plug-in videos, screen capture stuff. That stuff's all over YouTube. So I tried to do something different with my channel, and that's the kind of content that I make. I'm not saying that any console, Soundtracs Topaz, Soundcraft Sapphire, any of that sounds better or worse than a plug-in. I don't make those determinations. I just show hardware type videos on this channel, and that's what I do. And that's the audience that I'm going for, because I'm not sure there is much of an audience left for the digital stuff because everybody's doing that. Plus something like this, I mean, they don't make a plug-in of a Soundtracs Topaz. It doesn't sound like an SSL or an SSL plug-in, it sounds like a Soundtracs Topaz. The same thing with something like a Mackie 8 bus or this Yamaha RM804 mixer over here. These things don't sound like anything else out there except for themselves, so maybe if you find one of these inexpensively and just use the mic preamps, it gives you a unique tone that nobody else has. So there are benefits to this analog gear. Workflow is one of them. Some people also don't like looking at a computer all day or messing with knowing how to do all that stuff inside a computer. So these types of equipment are still valid in my opinion, and that's what I show on my channel. The song I'm using today for this demonstration is called The Air. It is from the Completeists 2016 album Songs for Cats. Yes, Songs for Cats. My good friend Heath Rogers, who has appeared on this channel and contributes a lot of the keyboard videos, he and I created this band. It's just the two of us, kind of mostly a studio band, and we did make an album called Songs for Cats in 2016. This song is the last song on that album, and this particular song doesn't have anything to do with cats, but Heath and I both like cats since they are an essential geek accessory according to the 8-bit guy here on YouTube. I've got the DBX163X compressor on the lead vocal for this mix, and the LA Audio 4x4 compressor on the kick drum and the snare drum. I said I was patching in some outboard reverb, and here it is. It's the Yamaha Rev500. I'm using the Large Hall #1 preset as a starting point, and I have tweaked that to 17.3 milliseconds of pre-delay and 1.8 seconds on reverb time. The high frequency ratio is 0.7, which is a little bit, I think that's a little bit higher than the default. So here's what's coming up on the console, being sent from the audio interfaces through different channels on the Soundtracs Topaz. Starting over here from channel 1, like normal, I've got kick drum, snare drum, I have stereo toms, which that's a combination of 3 toms panned in stereo in the box and then sent to the stereo stem. Then we've got stereo overheads with the hi-hat mic mixed in. Then a mono room mic here. Bass guitar. This is the main clean guitar that plays all the way through the song, and it is a stereo stem, stereo pair of channels here on the Topaz. Same with the dirty guitar part. That's a stereo stem of 2 different guitar tracks that play during the lead section or solo section towards the end. Then we've got the guitar lead texture. That's the main lead guitar track during the solo section, with a harmonized, heavily affected track that goes along with it. And then it also has the stereo acoustic guitars during the outro of the song, and that was me and Heath from the Completeists playing acoustic guitars together at the same time, facing each other, which was a really fun way to close out that album, I thought. Then the lead vocal track, background vocals, and the stereo returns from the outboard reverb, in this case the Rev500. Before I get into the full mix, I had a comment wanting to know what the DBX 163X would sound like on a vocal track. So I'm going to go ahead and solo up the vocal and let you hear the vocal just coming straight out of the project with no compression, and then again through the DBX 163X compressor, and then we'll add it to the full mix. Shattered spaces, and we want repeating on and on. Big mistake, I won't follow. Down again, and I'm breathing, finally seeing, revealing, sparkle on my wing. Shattered spaces, and we want repeating on and on. Big mistake, I won't follow. Down again, and I'm breathing, finally seeing, revealing, sparkle on my wing. When I'm mixing in the box, I find myself putting some kind of a plug-in on nearly everything. Console emulation plug-in, tape plug-in, something to kind of round things off and give it a little bit more of that sounds like a record kind of a sound. But when I'm mixing through a console, whether it's the Soundtracs Topaz, the Yamaha RM804, Allen and Heath System 8, Soundcraft Sapphire, I don't feel the need to put something on every single track or every single channel on the console to achieve the kind of sound that I want. So we're going to have some fun and mix this song now. I'm going to experiment with a little bit of a different camera angle today, so you'll have to let me know which you prefer in the comments. But setting the camera off over here to the side will allow me to kind of actually mix a little bit better without running into the tripod behind me while I'm mixing. So it's over here to the side. You're really not going to miss anything in this area because the masters are all the way up and there's not anything going on the buses or really anything there. So everything's down this way anyway. And hopefully this angle will work okay for this video. Shattered spaces, and we want repeating on and on. Big mistake, I won't follow. Down again, and I'm breathing, finally seeing, out of range. It's in the air. It's in the air. Well, what did you think? I thought that the DBX163X compressor actually sounds really smooth on the lead vocal track. Now, the compressor is a little bit noisier than a lot of more expensive or newer compressors would be, but in the context of this particular mix, it didn't make any difference. And it does sound good, it has a very smooth sound, and you know, I was pretty happy with the results of that on the lead vocal. What did you guys think? What did you think of the Rev500 reverb using an outboard reverb? I mean, I don't even do that a whole lot. I'll just send the reverb from the DAW over to channels for the mixing demonstrations, but you know, using the outboard reverb, I thought it sounded pretty good. It's different programming the settings for something like that than it is in a plugin. It takes a little bit longer, it's maybe a little bit harder to tweak the sound, but I think that the results are really good. So I hope you enjoyed that video and the song The Air from the Completeists Songs for Cats, and make sure that you check the links in the description for other music and different ways to help support this channel. I also hope you all have an excellent day, night, evening, weekend, weekday, hour, minute, second, nanosecond, whatever it is you're having. Have a good one, and thanks so much for watching. It's out of range. It's in the air. It's in the